Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday, and it's time to make a video that not everybody is going to fully appreciate. I can already tell you that right now. Before I get into the content of this video, though, I want to make a brief announcement. The joint stream with the Hawk's Nest, which this week will be on my channel, the channel that you're currently on right now, has been moved to tonight, not tomorrow. So me and the Hawk's Nest are going to go live tonight. We're going to really open up the onion on our top rookies, the rookies we got in this most recent draft. We're going to really dive deep into what they are, what makes this work, how this hopefully works for us, where it can go wrong, all that kind of stuff. So it's tonight, should be about 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. Hope to see you guys there. And yeah, we're basically just going to peel back the onion on these rookies. So hope you're ready for that. Tonight is going to be our top 4 rookies, I believe. Okay. That out of the way, let's take a look at something that we're still a few months away from really starting to care about. We are still a little bit of a ways away from really starting to dig into 2024 NFL draft prospects. But I thought it would be fun to go ahead and kind of lay out a little bit of a preview. We're not going to look at all the top guys. We're not going to look at even most of the top guys. But I wanted to start introducing some things that might be interesting to those of you out there who are really into draft stuff. And if you're like me and you're always thinking a couple steps ahead, you are probably sitting there thinking, we got this one more season. I think the team is going to be good, but is this team really going to be elite? We had such a bad defense last year. Are we really going to make a Super Bowl run with one off season between us and that defense? I don't know. Maybe you're not a big fan of Geno. Maybe you think that Geno's not good enough to win a Super Bowl with. Maybe you're thinking about, oh, how can we get better at this position when we inevitably have to blow it up a little bit at that spot this upcoming offseason, et cetera, et cetera. So, for those of you out there who like to talk about this kind of stuff, let's have at it. Let's talk about the 2024 top college prospects. And I'm going to focus in on a handful. And I focused on the positions that are, as of right now, of clear and obvious need to the Seahawks next offseason. Next offseason, what are the positions we might target? I collected a handful of the most interesting prospects at each of those positions. And we'll have plenty of time to talk about the rest of them as the year goes on. Okay, let's start at quarterback here because Geno Smith is on a 3-year deal that is basically year to year, and Drew Lock is going to be a free agent next year. So let's talk about 5 quarterbacks, and we got to start with the top quarterback in this class. This guy's basically the undisputed #1 QB in 2024. It's Caleb Williams, formerly of Oklahoma, currently of USC. This guy is a slam dunk #1 pick, which, by the way, probably puts him out of contention for the Seahawks picking him. Let's just be real here. Even if the Seahawks are bad, it's hard to imagine we're going to be that bad. And Caleb Williams is probably too good to trade up for. You're probably not going to be able to get a reasonable trade up. It's probably going to be something like 8 first-round picks. And I know it can't actually be 8 first-round picks, but the point is it's going to be too much. However, you cannot talk about 2024 quarterbacks without talking about Caleb. He is Patrick Mahomes 2.0, had 2 awesome seasons so far in college. He is the heir apparent to the Patrick Mahomes style of play, and that's really all that need be said about him. QB #2 right now is probably Drake May of North Carolina. He had a very impressive season in 2022. 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's more of a prototype, more of a traditional passer. But he does actually get quite a bit done with his legs as well. Almost had 700 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns last year. So he's kind of the full package here. He had a high completion percentage, volume, efficiency. He's probably going to go in the top 5. That would be my guess right now. If he has a good season in 2023, he will probably be a top 5 pick. So you're going to have to be really bad if you want to get him too. But he's a top QB in this class for sure. Another top quarterback in this class, this one might be a little more within our reach, is Quinn Ewers of Texas. And we kind of need to figure out exactly what Quinn Ewers is, because last year he only played in 10 games. He played okay, but his volume was really low because he had probably the best running backs in college football last year. He had Bijan and he had Roschon Johnson. Best running back collection in all of college football, most likely. So they didn't ask him to do a lot, and he didn't do a heck of a lot. He played okay, but this is the year we're going to find out about him. He is more, like I said about Drake May, and probably even more so with Quinn Ewers, a traditional drop back quarterback, big arm, all that kind of stuff, has not quite prototypical size, but decent size. And this is going to be a make or break year for him as a prospect. Could go one way or the other depending on how he plays this year. Next guy, probably QB4 right now on most lists, although some people have him as QB3, would be Michael Penix Jr. For most of you guys, I don't need to talk that much about what kind of player Penix is, because you guys already know, because you were watching him on Saturday last season. Yeah, Michael Penix had one of the best seasons any quarterback has ever had in UW history. Big numbers, but if you take a look at his career before then, you can see he got hurt a lot. He didn't play in that many games. And overall, he really was not that impressive of a prospect until last year. He linked up with DeBoer in Washington, which is the coach that he had in Indiana as well, and was able to put together a full season where he did it all. He had an awesome year. He showed proficiency with his legs, with his arm. There are some interesting stopping points here. He is a lefty, which is a little unconventional, and he's a little bit on the older side. This is going to be his 6th year in college football coming up. Because of all the injuries and because of all the time he's missed, he has decided to come back. So I don't know if Penix is really a blue chip quarterback, but he is. If he has a full good season in 2023, he'll probably be at least a first-round pick in 2024. One more quarterback I want to briefly go over here would be Tyler Van Dyke. This is my quote-unquote sleeper. And he's not really a sleeper because most people know who he is, and he'll probably be at least a day 3 pick. This isn't like some super sleeper here. But Tyler Van Dyke might get his draft stock tanked by Mario Cristobal. We already know that Cristobal knows how to take a really good quarterback prospect and make him look bad. Van Dyke may be his newest victim. He's got prototypical size. He's got a good arm. If you had to make like a pro comp to him, one that I've heard a lot is Carson Palmer. There's a lot of appealing stuff there. He had a really good year in 2021, but 2022, not so much. He actually got benched a few times. But is it the Cristobal effect? So I'm very interested to see what Van Dyke does this year. And even if he plays poorly, I'm going to continue to have my eye on him. And I'll view that as an opportunity to steal a good quarterback in maybe even day 3. So those are 5 quarterbacks that I have my eye on right now. There are others. There are plenty of others. Deion Sanders' kid is getting some attention. There's still KJ Jefferson, who I talked about quite a bit last year, so I'm not going to repeat it again. There's Cam Ward, who I actually really like at Wazoo. If he has a good year, he's going to be on the menu. There's going to be some really interesting... It looks like a really good quarterback class. I'll put it to you that way. All right, so that's the quarterbacks. Now let's move on to the next position that we're likely going to be needy at next offseason. It's tight end. Yeah, we're probably blowing up that tight end room. So let's take a look at some top tight end prospects. First guy we got to look at here is Brock Bowers. He is the consensus #1 tight end in this draft. He's another guy you may not be able to get unless you're terrible this year. And I mean, you're going to have to be like top 5, picking in the top 5. Not easy to do. But Brock Bowers is a rare specimen as far as tight ends go in this league. For 2 straight years on a Georgia team that was pretty stacked, although not necessarily stacked at receiver, they were stacked overall. He's had over 1,800 yards in the 29 games he's played, 20 touchdowns, had almost 1,000 yards last season, and he also adds a little bit of danger as a, I guess you could call it a running back. Very, very interesting player with how they use him. He's deadly up the seams, very athletic, very good short area quickness. He's going to be a Kyle Pitts level of tight end prospect, I think. I have to believe he's going in the top 10 minimum. I don't know about top 5, but I would say top 10 is a lock unless he has a bad year or gets hurt or something. Another tight end, Jatavion Sanders of Texas. This is a bigger guy, 6'4", 256 pounds, but he's another really talented receiving tight end. He had a breakout year last year with Quinn Ewers. Had 54 catches for 613 yards and 5 touchdowns. So he is going to be a little more of a traditional receiving tight end, I think, compared to somebody like Bowers. He's not quite the freakish specimen, but he is very good and definitely somebody worth putting your crosshairs on if you're looking for a first-round tight end next year. And my kind of sort of sleeper, and this, again, this isn't really a sleeper, but Cade Stover of Ohio State had a nice year last year catching passes from C.J. Stroud at Ohio State, and he's also a really good blocker. So if you lose Will Dissly next year and you want to get a blocking tight end, this is the early favorite to be like your Will Dissly type, I think. Okay, now we're going to move on to another position on the offense that I think needs to probably be fixed next year, interior offensive line. We're probably going to need some help at guard and maybe a little bit of help at center. So let's talk about some of the top guys there. First, the general consensus top guard in this draft and top interior offensive lineman overall is probably Donovan Jackson of Ohio State. He's playing left guard for them right now. You can see that he's made significant strides from 2021 to 2022. Really good run blocker. Needs to get a little bit better as pass blocking, but I think he probably will. For whatever it's worth, PFF says he's not eligible until 2025, but Mock Draft Database says he's eligible in 2024. I don't know what's the truth. If he is eligible, I think he'll be a first-round pick or at least borderline. If he has a really good year, shows the ability to play pure left guard in the NFL, then he may move up. But Donovan Jackson's probably the best interior offensive lineman in this draft. The best center in this draft is a guy who I talked about a good amount last year, and then he decided to, well, I don't know if he decided or if he had to go back, but Cedric Van Pran of Georgia had 2 pretty solid years. He's the kind of center that I think would work great in this offense. I would love to have him. Obviously, Oluwatimi is going to be the future starter until further notice, but a guy like Van Pran, he's probably just a better prospect than Oluwatimi. So if the opportunity is there to get him and you're losing Evan Brown to free agency, I don't think you can say no just because you have Oluwatimi. So good all-around, mobile, versatile center prospect in Van Pran. Big fan. And one more guard prospect I want to draw attention to. This is a guy who I briefly spoke about last year. He transferred from Alabama to Miami. It's Javion Cohen. He is another guy who is playing left guard in the NFL. He had a really nice year in 2022, showed significant improvement. And if he can have another year like that, is probably going to be drafted second round at least, I think. And he does currently, I think, profile out to being a left guard prospect in the NFL. So Javion Cohen, one of my favorite guards in this draft. Not really a sleeper, but he's not a first-round guy yet. All right, those are my current primary offensive draft prospects for the 2024 NFL Draft. Those are the guys I'm going to initially be keeping my eye on in the 2023 college football season on offense. Later today, I will be posting a second video where I go over my favorite defensive prospects, again, based on the likely needs of the Seahawks at this point in time. So if you want to see who I like on the defensive side of the ball, just wait a couple hours from the upload of this video and it'll be up. And I also hope to see you guys tonight during the Hawks Nest stream where we're going to talk about our top rookies from the most recent draft. So let me know what you guys think about these guys. Did I miss anybody? Of course I missed people. I missed a ton of people because this video is not meant to be comprehensive. But let me know who else you're keeping an eye on. Let me know who you like. Let me know if you think someone's overrated or you're not into somebody. Fill me in down below. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks.